back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over everything you need to know about BGR, what you need to do beforehand, during, and after to prepare for your classes. So stay tuned for literally everything you need to know to be successful and set yourself up for a good start of the year. So if you're watching this, you're definitely an incoming freshman, and I'm just going to let you know now, if you're an international student who's looking to find more information on BGRI, which is Boiler Gold Rush Week for international students, I don't have much information about that in this video because I personally didn't do that. But if you're just going to the regular Boiler Gold Rush Week for freshmen, then this video is for you. So I have a list of stuff that I wrote down. I went through my camera roll to kind of remember certain things that happened, and I actually have a lot, so it's gonna be a bit of a long video, but I'll put timestamps so that you can kind of get a feel for what the video is about and where you want to skip to. But I really condensed this down to the important things to know, so I suggest watching through the whole way to kind of get the full rundown. I personally had a really good experience at BGR, and it literally changed my semester. Like, this affected my entire semester and how well it went, so I have a lot of really good tips to make sure that yours goes smoothly. So first off, what is BGR? BGR stands for Boiler Gold Rush Week, and it occurs the week before classes start. BGR is 1 week before classes start, and international BGRI is 2 weeks before classes start. So the purpose of BGR is to make some friends, meet a lot of people, get to know the campus and familiarize yourself with where everything is, the dining halls, the dorms, your classes, blah, 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 as well as to understand Purdue's traditions and campus culture. So during this time, alongside with getting to know a lot of people, you'll be in a group doing icebreakers, games, you'll be learning dances. Yes, Purdue has its own dances that freshmen learn. You only really ever do them at the ceremonies for BGR. I think I did one, I think it was a football or a basketball game, I forget, but I don't know. You can learn the dances if you want to. You'll be doing it as a group with your team, so you can kind of decide if you want to learn them or not. It's a little embarrassing because you are on this really big lawn, you're always doing it in a public space, and then your team leader, your TL, will be like, okay, we're gonna learn a dance, and they put music on a speaker and you just learn the dance for 20 to 30 minutes, and I was not having that. It was hot outside. I was like, I'm good, especially because it went on for a long time. I learned it, but then we kept doing it for 10 more minutes. I was like, okay, that's it. If you really want to remember them, because they are really fun when you do them for the assemblies, because there's I think there's 2 main assemblies. There's one in the beginning and one at the end, where they give announcements and welcomes you to the campus, and you do the dance when you're in those. And there'll be a bunch of the team leaders, TLs, who are dancing in the assembly hall. So I guess it's fun to know it when you're doing it with your friends, but it's a little bit annoying to learn. So just take with that what you will. You'll also have group meals. So you're gonna be in a team, and your team leader, they'll lead you to the dining hall that you're gonna eat with your team, and you'll kind of get to pick which ones are your favorite and get to know each one before classes start. So I think that's really cool. The main 2 traditions that you get to do at BGR are the railroad hopping, like everyone in your team holds hands and then jumps over the railroad tracks on campus. And then a lot of people, when they graduate, they go and jump over the tracks again, but in the other direction, to say that they've crossed over and they've completed their Purdue journey or whatever. Someone's there taking pictures, and then your team leader will send it in a group chat. It's a really cute thing to have. The second is gonna be the fountain run, where it's at the very end of the BGR experience, where you're with your team. There's multiple fountains on campus. You start at the engineering fountain, and then you run a lap, and you have to run through the fountain in the start. So you get completely soaked, but it's really refreshing because it's hot outside. That was a really fun experience. I had a lot of fun at the fountain run. Okay, now for the groups that you're gonna be in for BGR. I remember when I was a freshman, before I got on campus, I had to do this registration checklist, or this pre-move-in check-in or something like that. It should be on your campus portal, where they give you a list of things that you have to have done before you can begin classes or before you can register for classes, etc., etc. And one of the things that they have you do, they had it for us, I'm not sure if the class of 2028 is going to have this as well, but it's like a personality and skills survey where you just answer a bunch of questions. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the MBTI test, but it kind of reminded me of that. It's like a lot of stuff for like your personality and like your skill sets, I guess. And you get like categorized into this, like, I think it was like a set of letters or something like that, and each letter stands for a different thing or a different skill, a different personality trait. And I have a feeling they use that to partner you with people in the same BGR group as you, because they're gonna have similar like personalities, or maybe they put you with people with different personalities so that you guys can, like, I guess, match together closer, or there's like a well-rounded group. I think it's something like that. You'll also most likely be paired with people who are in your major or people with similar majors. Like, I'm in integrated business and engineering, and I was with a lot of engineers. So that's another thing to consider. And it's a really good thing to make friends in your major because they're gonna take the exact same classes as you. So if you make connections during BGR, you can get their contacts and possibly work on the exact same assignments together in the future. Another thing that I think might impact your group is definitely your housing. For me, it wasn't the case. No one in my group actually lived in my dorm hall. They were all in Meredith while I was in Shreve, but like I said, everybody else was in Meredith, so they kind of had that in common. So I guess I was just like the outlier in that. But there's a chance that the people in your group are going to be in your dorm hall, and it's going to be easier to hang out with them again or see them. So make sure you ask them those questions. So when you're introducing yourself at Purdue, you'll like slowly memorize this and like have it in the back of your head. But since you're meeting like tens and tens of people every single day, the go-to like thing is like, oh, what's your major? Where do you live? Like, where are you from? Like, all that stuff. So you gotta have your dorm down, your major down, like where you're from. So like, those are things to ask people when you get to know them, I guess. It's like very basic questions. Like, I swear whenever someone asks me my major, I get flashbacks to BGR because that's like one of the biggest questions you'll get, and like the main reason people want to talk to you. If someone knows that you have the same major as them, you're gonna like instantly be friends. But yeah, really try to get to know your BGR group. It's different for everyone. I've heard people that said they really like their group and they're close to them to this day, like the whole semester, the whole year, like they were friends. And on the other hand, there's some where they were close during BGR, but not really close during the school year. And then there's some groups that like weren't really close during BGR, so they definitely didn't stay friends afterwards. But I've never heard like a bad experience, so that's something to keep in mind. I've only ever heard like, oh, it was amazing, or like, oh, it was okay, like they were just different people and like a little shy. That's what happened to me. My group was pretty quiet, and I had already made friends before I even got to Purdue. I'll get into that and how to do that later. But I really wanted to hang out with those friends that I had already made because they fit my personality a bit more. So I ended up hanging out with them a little bit more, and I'll get into that on like how to balance hanging out with your BGR group and your outside friends, like friends outside of your group. I'll get into that in just a second. Okay, this is kind of related to the groups section, but it's on your teams and competition. So BGR, all the students as a whole, and then you have your little groups where you have like 10 to 15, 20 people in each group, and each group is categorized into, I think, either like one of 4 or 5 like teams. There's like different colors. I was color blue, and there's like various colors, and those teams are going against each other all of BGR on like a points system. I don't know if in high school you guys had like competitions by grade, like divided by grade, where you earn points over the year during assemblies and stuff like that, and at the end of the year you see which team had like the highest points and stuff like that, and the prize was just like bragging rights or something. They do that in BGR as well. So your team leader will have a colored shirt on all the time, and that's going to be your team, and you'll basically be competing against the teams of the other colors the entire time. I don't really remember much about the point system other than the fact that there was like upperclassmen and staff going around in go-karts and like watching to see which teams were more like spirited and like doing the dances that they teach you, and like I guess like they're encouraging you to like participate and stuff, and they'll just like give points to teams as they like wander around. So like if you see a golf cart, like get your act together because they're gonna give you points or not give you points. I didn't really care that much about that. It's just like an extra thing to like make it more exciting at the end assembly, because everybody's like, oh, which team won? And there's like chants too, like there's team chants that you guys have, and if you do it better than another team, you get more points, all that stuff. Super fun. A good way to interact with like your other teammates and also get a sense of how spirited Purdue is. Like if in high school you were like really standoffish about like expressing how spirited you are towards your school, that's completely going to change at Purdue. Like we are very high spirited about like our sports and all that jazz. If you ever go to a football game, Purdue football game or a Purdue basketball game, you'll get to see that. There's like constant chanting if you're in the student section. It's amazing. A really, really good atmosphere. And it was honestly a shock to me because I don't really go to many sporting events in the first place. And when I do, everybody's like silent and they just cheer whenever like someone scores a goal or point or whatever. But here it's like constant chanting no matter what. So it's really cool. Okay, probably one of the most important and like highly sought after tips of the whole BGR, the whole freshman year experience is how do you make friends during BGR? So I'm guessing you're like really nervous about how you're gonna meet people and how you're gonna find someone to kind of stick with. And honestly, it's not that hard if you know what to do beforehand. So obviously you're gonna meet so many people every day, genuinely. You have so many opportunities to make friends. So I just want to preface this beforehand. Don't get down if one person you meet doesn't want to be friends with you. Like you're gonna meet so many people. You're gonna have so many times where you're like, this is my major, this is where I'm from, this is my life story, blah, blah, blah. And then you don't become friends. Like that's gonna happen a lot because there's so many people and you're not gonna click with everyone. And I think if you force it, you're gonna end up finding people you're not really happy with, and something down the line is gonna go wrong. There's gonna be drama, there's gonna be an argument. So avoid that by just taking your time. Like it's okay if you don't have friends immediately, but don't rush it. Just, it's a natural process. You'll meet some people eventually because this is just BGR. You haven't even gone to classes where you have group projects, where you have to meet up outside of class. Like there's so many opportunities for you to make friends even after BGR. So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself, but definitely attempt to do so, because college is all about putting yourself out there and networking. Basically, it starts off casual, like making friends, but eventually when you start classes and you start meeting professors, you have to be able to put yourself out there and network with people, you know, get that LinkedIn going, get those connections going so that you can be prepared professionally and also have a lot of friends. Okay, the first tip I have to say is when you're meeting people, you kind of have to force yourself to be overly extroverted. I'm not saying you have to be like an extrovert, but like whatever you are, like if you're starting here at extroverted level, go here. If you start here, go here. Just kind of like up it a little bit, because a lot of people are nervous and they're just waiting for someone to interact with them. So if you're like, you see someone by themselves, they're probably wanting to go talk to someone too. Just be the first person to talk, you know? Don't just stand there and wait for someone to talk to you. Like make the first move and put yourself out there. After like the 10th time of repeating the whole, what's your major? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my major's this. Oh, what dorm are you in? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm in this dorm. Like after doing that whole interaction like 10 times, it becomes second nature. It's gonna be like hard at first, but you'll get used to it and you'll make friends by just reaching out to people who aren't with anybody. Another tip is regarding your BGR group. So although you might be extremely tight with your BGR group, or maybe if you're not tight with them at all and you're like, I'm just comfortable because I'm in a group of people, one of the biggest tips that I have is do not feel pressured to stick with your BGR group. I know in high school, there's a lot of like rules on like where you have to be and when you have to do things, but this is college now. You have options, you have freedom. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, when you want to do it, especially during BGR, because you have no commitment for classes. You are given a schedule for BGR, but it's not mandatory. Like a lot of these things are, this is what's happening. If you want to come, come. If you don't, don't. I really took liberty with that during BGR. Not so much that I literally just didn't go to anything and then sat in my room or just hung out with my friends somewhere else. We all participated in BGR activities, but since I had made friends before BGR even started, I wanted to make time for them and get to know them better as well, especially because I wasn't really close with my BGR group, if you know what I mean. So if you see something on the schedule that you're not really vibing with, you're like, that doesn't sound that fun, or maybe you're just like, I just want to take a break from walking around with my BGR group all day, do something else. If you have friends already, meet up with them and go get lunch or something like that. A big thing that people do is meet up with their roommates and just go to lunch to get to know them better. If you're a freshman, you are most likely going to have at least one roommate. Take time to get to know them better, go to lunch with them, I don't know, do something. The events that you should go to are the fountain run and the railroad jump thingy mabob. Those are the two that I really enjoyed. Okay, so I wasn't really tight with my BGR group, and I had a friend that had a team leader that was like super nice, super like relaxed and chill, wasn't a stickler about like who's in her group and who's not. Like, she would let random people that weren't in her group participate in her group activities. I had a friend who had a TL like that. And we decided for the fountain run that a lot of people wanted to join that BGR group to do the run because we were all friends and we had been hanging out that BGR week and we wanted to do the run together. And the team leader was like, oh, that's totally fine. Just like join us. It'll be no problem. So if you find a friend that has a really chill team leader, or you have a chill team leader and you want to hang out with someone, you can even do those activities with your friends if you want to hang out with them and do the activity at the same time, even though you're not in the same group, if you know what I mean. Most, like all of the team leaders are students, they're upperclassmen. They're not going to be like professors or teachers who are like super strict and like, no, you are not in my group, you cannot do this with us, like stuff like, they won't do that. You can kind of choose where you want to be. Obviously ask just to be nice and respectful because it is their team and they have to like manage everybody, and they might get confused when they see a new face, but most likely they will not say anything. Okay, and then these things are occurring during BGR, but they are not technically a part of it, I guess. First is the club fair. I think this happens towards the end of BGR or during the first week of classes. I'm not quite too sure on that. My memory is failing me. I'm pretty sure it's before classes starts during like the end of BGR. And it's basically where all the clubs and the intramural sports for the school. Intramural sports are basically like for fun, casual sports. There's not as much of a time commitment as like a club. You get to go and play the sport that you like with minimal like pressure because everybody's new. There's some teams that have like really good people. Like there was a soccer team full of like a bunch of Latin students and they were good. Like I swear, they're really good. You can join, there's like soccer, I know there's tennis, there's badminton, there's a lot. I don't know all of them because I didn't do it, but I had some friends that did intramural soccer. There's a whole organized system where there's like practices and games and like tournaments. It's super cool. So if you're into sports, look at that. And that will be at the club fair as well. I lived in Shreve Hall, if you saw on my last video for the tour of that dorm. So if you're living in Shreve, check that out. It's like a full in-depth video of the room, the long-term room, the common rooms, literally everything you want to know about Shreve. And a lot of the dorms have very similar rooms to Shreve. So if you're in a double, that's how your room's gonna look. If you're living in Earhart is practically identical to Shreve. It's just like, it's literally on the other side of Shreve. It's like a 2-minute walk from Shreve. So if you live in Earhart and you're having trouble finding videos of that, check out my video. It's gonna be identical. But if you go to Shreve Hall, it's literally on Google Maps. Everything at Purdue, all of the academic buildings, all of the dorms on Google Maps. So if you need to find a class or a building, just Google Maps it, you're good. Just type in Shreve Hall. If you go to the front of Shreve Hall, across from that, there's gonna be a very big field full of soccer fields and just like grass. That's where the club fair is gonna be. They just set up all the tables and every single club that exists on campus is there. That is something you cannot miss. Like, do not miss that. If you see it on the schedule, people will be talking about it too. They'll be like, are you going to club fair? Are you going to the club fair? Blah, 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 because everybody wants to go with people. Go to the club fair. You will be severely missing out on opportunities to make friends, to find an extracurricular, potential internship opportunities through the people in the club, all of that stuff, networking, gonna be at that club fair. I joined the rowing team and I saw them there at the club fair. They had a massive boat out on display. So check it out, even if you're not gonna join the rowing club, but do join the rowing club. It's really good. I've been doing sport for like 7 years and I highly recommend it. I am obsessed with it. You should join. I can answer questions on that in the comments if you need. I can go on and on about that, so I have to cut myself off. you want to be a national champion, join the rowing team. Also, if you're looking for a good set of friends, rowing team. It's a team sport where you guys suffer together and win together, because it's hard. Suffer together, win together, eat together, like genuinely. The rowing team like has dinners after practice together. So if you're just looking for a way to get fit, a way to make friends, and a way to kind of distract yourself from academic stress, boom, rowing team, do it. There's men's team, women's team. A lot of people go into it with zero experience. So check it out at the club fair. I'll try to be there if I can. Let me know if you go and I will be there. Sorry for the tangent on rowing, but such a good sport, changed my life. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, club fair. Another set of clubs that are gonna be there that I remember looking at was the skydiving club. I never went with them on a skydive because I was really busy, and I think my parents would freak out if they knew I was skydiving. So if you love skydiving though, there's a skydiving club. There's also a lot of clubs related to Formula One, racing, kart building. If you are interested in motorsports, genuinely Purdue is the best school for that. Like, I know so many people who are obsessed with Formula One, Formula E, karting, all that stuff. Like, I literally know someone who has their freaking racing license. He's probably watching this right now. But he has like a freaking racing license and had a simulator in his dorm for Formula One. So if you're like one of those people that loves racing like I do and loves cars, so many of those people at Purdue, because they're all engineers. So if you're interested in like being on a team that actually builds a racing kart and races it at one of the Grand Prix, either the Electric Grand Prix or the Purdue Grand Prix, that is something that is available there. You can join the team, you'll have a position and influence on the kart. You can potentially be a driver if you have the skill sets. There's also a lot of clubs for arts and crafts. There's some for nonprofits. There's also some really niche clubs. There was one for like roller coaster engineering, where you could literally go on field trips to amusement parks to learn about the engineering aspect of roller coasters. There's just anything you could think of. Even if you don't want to join a club necessarily, walk through all the stalls, talk to people, get their cards, go to the call out meetings, sit next to someone and talk to them and make friends. There's literally so many opportunities for you to make friends. The club fair is one of the biggest resources for friend making and things that will improve your semester greatly. Go to it, do not miss out. I swear I will be mad at you if you do. Okay, lastly, for making friends, there is a street at Purdue called 3rd Street. That street goes all the way from off campus through the entire campus. It goes past where the club fair is, past Shreve Hall, past some of the dining courts, all the way through to academic side of campus. It is the most busy and like student-oriented street at Purdue if you're a freshman because that's the street that connects all of the residence halls to the academic side of campus. That's the street that you're going to be taking the most to get to class. And during BGR at night, everyone is like packed onto that street just socializing. I think for 3 nights straight there was like a massive crowd of people at 3rd Street just socializing, playing ping pong, like talking. There was music, I think. I don't know. There was just a lot of people there. I don't know. I only went once because it was a little overwhelming and it was hot outside. But if you want to go socialize, if you want to just go meet people, go to 3rd Street. It kind of dies down after 3 nights. So I suggest going like the 1st or 2nd night so you don't miss out on it. If you don't feel comfortable with big crowds, I don't suggest it because it gets really packed and you have to like cram your way through the crowd. But if that's your thing, go ahead. Okay, another thing is transportation. How are you gonna get around campus without a car? Because most people do not have one as a freshman. The way that most people get around, especially incoming freshmen during BGR, is gonna be VIOs. They are electric scooters and electric, like kind of like bikes, but you don't pedal, where you get like the app, you scan a code on the vehicle, and then you rent it out 1 minute to unlock it, and then like a certain amount every minute, and you can just take that wherever. Like, they're pretty fast. I think their maximum speed is like 16 miles an hour. If you're gonna go on them, please be careful, because there have been many people who have like fallen because they're driving recklessly on those and had to get picked up in an ambulance and taken to the hospital. Watch out for cars, because Purdue is connected to some main streets. There's also a lot of people around. Don't run into anybody. If you're walking, make sure that no one runs into you. There's a lot of foot traffic and bikes on campus, so please like be aware of your surroundings. Don't be on your phone all the time while you're walking, because you will eventually run into someone. Be careful. Okay, for meals, the places where you're gonna be eating are dining halls. So you're gonna be given a wristband at the start of BGR that's gonna have a color. Your color is gonna be the same as the people in your group, the little like 15 to 25 person group with your team leader. And that's because your wristband color designates a place and time to eat. So let's say I had like a gold wristband. Okay, on Tuesday, gold wristbands eat at Wiley Dining Hall at this time. You can only eat at that dining hall on that day. You can't go to another dining hall that doesn't have that wristband available. It'll be posted on the schedule, as well as in front of the dining halls. They'll have like sheets of paper saying which wristbands can eat at that specific time. So don't try to go into a dining hall that has a wristband that's not your color, because they won't let you in. It's like a very organized system, but you will get to eat at every single dining hall before classes start. So you'll get a chance to try everything, don't worry. I also suggest for food, go off campus, like go to Chauncey, which is the downtown area. I highly suggest Chauncey. It's kind of near the PMU, which is the Purdue Memorial Union. Right by there is where all of the famous restaurants that Purdue is known for, like Triple X, Mad Mush. There's also Harry's Chocolate Shop. It is not a chocolate shop, it is a bar. So don't go in there if you're not 21. They'll kick you out. Don't make that mistake of thinking it's actually a chocolate shop. A lot of great restaurants. It's an amazing place to go with your friends when you're not doing BGR related activities. Go try the food there, walk around. There's just gonna be so many people during BGR hanging out there. Now, if you're interested on getting to know how to make friends before you even get on campus and move into Purdue, I have a whole video that I'm going to be uploading really soon on that, and it kind of gives you all the information on how I made friends before I got to Purdue and how that kind of played out for me. So definitely go and check that out. It's pretty short, but it's in depth. The first person I met at Purdue that I was talking to before I got on campus, I'm still friends with them to this day. So definitely a good thing to try out. And if you're interested in that, check out that video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I answered all of your questions and hopefully eased a little bit of your anxiousness for BGR. Just to wrap it up, it's generally a really fun and lighthearted experience. Don't put pressure on yourself to make everything like picture perfect. Like, don't be disappointed when you don't make friends immediately, but be happy if you do. Take anything that happens at BGR with a grain of salt, because your year is so long. You have so many opportunities to make friends, network, and all that jazz. So just go into it with no expectations, and you'll end up finding that that's gonna be the best way to just kind of let loose and be yourself, even though that's kind of like stereotypically cringy. Be yourself. But college is the space where there's so many different kinds of people from all over the world, all over the country. You will find your people. You will find the people that you don't have to be fake around. So don't rush anything, don't push it. Wait till you find the right people and just get to know them really well, because y'all will be so close at the end of the year after experiencing your first year at college together. Be excited for it, and I wish you the best of luck. If you have any questions at all, pop into the comment section. I reply pretty quickly. I am going to be making a lot of freshman tip content soon, because I know that I was worried about that and I had trouble finding tips that were like recent, so I got you.